Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a look at something pretty fundamental in healthcare, but maybe overlooked sometimes, the global market for syringes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely essential.
We've got this recent market report packed with data, and our aim today is really to pull out the key stuff for you.
Yeah, makes sense of it all.
Exactly. Like, how big is this market? Where is it going? What's driving it? Which regions matter most?
And the report covers a lot. Market size, growth rates, the different types, who's using them, materials. It's pretty detailed.
So our mission, if you will, is to distill all that into a clear picture of this, well, vital industry.
Sounds good. It's a fascinating market when you really dig into the numbers and trends.
Okay, let's jump right in then. The big picture first. How big are we talking globally for syringes right now?
So the report estimates that for 2025, the global market size will be around USD $16,524.5 million.
Wow, okay, $16.5 billion. That's substantial already.
It really is. And it's not slowing down.
Right, so what's the forecast? You mentioned growth.
Yeah, the projection is pretty strong. It's expected to reach almost USD $34,909.8 million by 2033.
34, nearly 35 billion.
Mm-hmm. That works out to a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of 9.80% between 2025 and 2033.
Okay, 9.8%. That's nearly 10% growth year on year averaged out. That's impressive. Basically doubling in, what, 8 years?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of sustained growth is significant.
So what's behind that? What's really pushing this market forward so strongly?
Well, the report points to two main drivers, really. First, there's the increasing prevalence of chronic diseases globally.
Like diabetes, things like that.
Exactly. Conditions that often need regular injections that directly boost its demand. And second, there's ongoing technological development.
In what sense? New drugs?
New injectable drugs, yes,
Yeah.
but also more advanced delivery systems, better syringes, basically. That fuels market growth, too.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's break it down by region. Where's the biggest demand concentrated right now?
Right now, North America is the leader. It holds the largest share, actually over 40% of the global market in 2025.
Over 40%. So that's, what was the dollar figure again?
For North America in 2025, it's estimated at USD $6,114.07 million.
Okay, dominant player. Is that expected to stay the same? Is it growing fastest too?
It'll definitely stay a major market, but its growth rate, while solid at 8.2% CAGR through 2033, isn't actually the highest globally.
Ah, okay. And within North America, U.S., Canada, Mexico.
The U.S. is the giant, about USD $4,824 million with an 8.0% CAGR. Canada's smaller, around USD $733 million, but growing a bit faster at 9.0% CAGR. And Mexico's at about USD $556 million with an 8.7% CAGR.
What makes North America such a powerhouse for syringes then?
Well, several things. You've got very high healthcare spending generally. They're often leaders in adopting new medical tech.
Right.
Then there's the high rate of chronic illnesses, unfortunately, and also very strict regulations around medical devices, which tends to support, higher value products and maintains quality standards.
Okay. And Europe. The report mentioned it has a big share too.
Yes, Europe's significant. Over 30% of the global market in 2025. That's about USD $4,792.01 million.
And its growth, similar to North America.
Slightly higher, actually. Projected CAGR is 8.8% through 2033.
And key countries there.
It's quite spread out. The UK is around USD $805 million, growing fast at 9.6% CAGR. Germany is the largest, maybe USD $949 million, 9.0% CAGR. Then you have France, Italy, Russia, Spain, all substantial markets with key GRs mostly in the 7.8 to 8.2% range, except for the UK and Germany, which are a bit higher.
What's driving the European market? Similar factors.
Pretty similar, yeah. Sophisticated healthcare systems, high spending, strict regulations like North America. And again, sadly, rising chronic disease rates play a big role.
Okay. Now, you mentioned North America wasn't the fastest growing. Which region holds that title?
That would be the Asia-Pacific region.
APAC. What are their numbers looking like?
So in 2025, APAC holds around 23% of the market share, which is about USD $3,965.88 million. Still behind North America and Europe in size currently.
But the growth?
But the growth is projected at a remarkable 12.6% CAGR from 2025 to 2033. That's where a lot of the future expansion is really concentrated.
Wow, 12.6%. That's a huge difference compared to the, 8-something% in North America and Europe. Which countries are leading that charge in APAC?
China is the biggest market there. Around USD $1,665 million, growing at 12.1%. But look at India, smaller market size currently, about USD $396 million, but growing at an incredible 14.5% CAGR.
14.5%, okay.
Yeah. Japan's also significant, over $500 million, 11.1% CAGR. And Southeast Asia as a whole, strong growth too, 13.4% CAGR.
What's fueling all that? It sounds like a perfect storm for growth.
It really is.
Yeah.
You've got growing populations needing more healthcare, increasing awareness, a big expansion in R&D activities within the region,
Right.
plus significant healthcare reforms in many countries improving access, or just general technological leaps in their healthcare sectors.
Okay, that paints a clear picture of the big three regions. What about the others? South America, Middle East, Africa, they're smaller, but are they growing too?
They are, and often at pretty high rates, actually, just from a smaller base. South America has over 5% share in 2025, about USD 628 million. Its CAGR is strong, 10.5%.
Any key countries there?
Brazil and Argentina are highlighted, both showing CAGRs over 11%.
Okay. And the Middle East?
Around 2% share, about USD 661 million in 2025, but growing even faster, 11.1% CAGR. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are key players, with CAGRs above 11.4%.
Interesting. And
The
Africa?
smallest share, around 1% in 2025, about USD 363 million, but still a solid 10.1% CGR projected. South Africa and Nigeria are mentioned specifically, with CAGRs around 11% and 10.3% respectively.
What are the drivers in these regions? Anything different?
Some overlap, some specifics.
Like-
South America.
Yeah.
Growing awareness about infection control, better medical facilities popping up, more healthcare spending overall.
Makes sense.
Middle East. They often have quite well-established healthcare systems, plus that increased focus on safe injection practices and rising chronic illnesses again.
Uh-huh.
And Africa. Similar themes, rising chronic conditions, an aging population in some areas, and interestingly, a growing preference for pre-filled or prepared syringes.
Got it. Okay, that regional breakdown is super helpful. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about the products themselves, different types of syringes.
Yeah, the report breaks it down. You have your general purpose syringes, specialized ones, and then smart syringes.
Okay, which ones are most common?
General purpose still hold a big share. They're used for everything. But the trend is definitely towards smart syringes becoming dominant.
Smart syringes, what makes them smart?
Features designed for safety, basically. Things that help prevent accidental needle sticks for healthcare workers, or features that reduce the risk of medication errors. Big focus on safety.
Right, safety first. And which type is growing fastest? Not necessarily the biggest share, but fastest increase.
That would be the specialized syringes segment.
Specialized. Like for specific drugs or uses?
Exactly. Think about delivering really thick, viscous drugs or needing super precise, tiny doses. As we get more complex medicines, personalized treatments, you need specialized tools to deliver them effectively.
Yeah.
Insulin pens, specific pre-filled syringes for biologics, that sort of thing.
Okay, that ties into the tech advancements you mentioned earlier. What about the main uses or applications? Where are all these syringes going?
The biggest single application area right now is immunization, vaccines.
Makes sense, given global vaccination efforts.
Absolutely. Driven by new vaccine R&D and just the sheer volume. But the fastest growing application area is actually diagnostics.
Diagnostics. How are syringes used there? Blood draws.
Blood draws, yes, but also handling reagents. Samples for complex tests run on modern diagnostic equipment. As diagnostics get more sophisticated, the need for precise fluid handling grows.
Interesting. Okay, another aspect. Disposable versus reusable. What's the story there? I assume disposable is dominant.
It is, yeah. Disposable syringes have the largest market share by far. Hospitals, clinics, they prioritize single use to minimize infection risks. It's standard practice.
But is that where the growth is?
Actually, no. The fastest growing segment by usage is reusable syringes.
Really? That seems counterintuitive with infection control being so key.
It does, but it's driven by different factors. Sustainability is one, reducing medical waste. Cost effectiveness in certain settings is another.
So where are these reusable ones mainly used?
Primarily in research labs, testing facilities, and also in veterinary medicine. Places where they can implement really rigorous sterilization procedures reliably,
Yeah.
and where maybe the volumes or cost pressures make reuse more viable.
Ah, okay. Context is key there. What about materials? Mostly plastic, I imagine.
Classic definitely holds the largest share. It's cheap, lightweight, easy to make disposable, works for most things.
But is there a but?
But glass is the fastest growing material segment.
Glass syringes. Like the old days. Why the comeback?
Well, glass has advantages. It's often more inert chemically than plastic, which matters for certain sensitive or reactive drugs. It can be more durable for certain applications, handles sterilization well, and allows for really precise measurements. So for specific high-value drugs or lab uses, glass is seeing renewed interest.
Fascinating. Okay, last piece of the segmentation puzzle. Who are the end users? Where do these syringes end up?
The biggest end user segment, unsurprisingly, is hospitals and clinics. Just the sheer volume of procedures they perform.
Right, makes total sense. And the fastest growing end user.
That would be independent diagnostic laboratories.
Ah, connecting back to the growth in the diagnostics application.
Exactly. There's increased investment in R&D, more focus on early and accurate diagnosis. These independent labs are expanding, doing more testing, and they need syringes for handling samples, running tests, all that.
Okay, so let's try and pull the key dynamics together. We've got strong growth,
Yep. Driven mainly by chronic diseases and tech advancements.
regional shifts with APAC really accelerating,
Definitely a key trend.
and product shifts towards specialized and smart syringes with interesting nuances in materials like glass and growth in diagnostic uses in labs.
You got it.
Are there any speed bumps? Any challenges or restraints mentioned for this market?
Yeah, couple of things. High regulatory hurdles are always a factor in medical devices. Getting approval for new designs, meeting safety standards, it's complex and costly.
Regulations, always a big one.
And also the possibility of alternative treatments emerging, things that don't need injections, could potentially, limit syringe demand in certain niches down the line.
Okay. And what about major trends shaping the future, besides what we've discussed?
The report mentions expanding government initiatives focused on healthcare quality and safety that often influences device use, and also the continued expansion of global immunization programs. Think GAVI, WHO efforts. That creates ongoing, large-scale demand.
Gotcha. Now, before we wrap up, who are the big companies in this space? Any names we should know?
Some of the key global players mentioned are Becton, Dickinson and Company, BD. You probably know them.
Oh, yeah, BD.
Ubiquitous. Terumo Corporation, Gerresheimer AG, and Shadow TT Pharma are also major names. Big companies involved in R&D, manufacturing,
Yeah.
the whole chain.
And the report gave some examples of what they've been up to recently. Did those examples kind of illustrate the trends we've talked about?
They do, actually.
Yeah.
BD partnering in India for self-collection kits for cervical cancer screening that speaks to diagnostics and accessibility.
Right.
Terumo launching a new filter needle that's about enhancing safety during drug administration.
Uh-huh.
Gerresheimer expanding production of ready-to-fill syringes in Mexico that shows the demand for convenience, pre-filled options. And Shadow T Pharma building a new U.S. facility specifically for polymer pre-fillable syringes for mRNA drugs that directly ties into advanced therapies and specialized delivery needs.
Perfect examples. Okay, so let's summarize this deep dive. We're looking at a global syringes market that's not just large, over $16 billion now, but growing really robustly, heading towards maybe $35 billion by 2033.
Driven by those twin engines. More chronic disease requiring injections and constant technological progress in drugs and delivery.
And while North America and Europe are the current big players, the real action in terms of growth rate is shifting towards Asia Pacific.
Absolutely. That 12.6% CAGR in APAC is a huge indicator.
We're also seeing a clear move towards smarter, safer syringes and more specialized ones for complex needs. Plus, interesting sub-trends like reusable growth in labs, the resurgence of glass for certain applications, and the boom in diagnostics.
Yeah, those are some of the real aha moments for me, too. The APAC growth speed, the clear shift to specialized and smart types. It really points to where things are heading safer, more tailored medication delivery. And the rise of glass and independent labs shows how specific needs are evolving.
It really does paint a picture of a dynamic market. So thinking beyond just syringes, considering these strong growth trends, this focus on safety, on tech innovation, it makes you wonder, doesn't it, what other medical device areas might be poised for similar changes soon?
That's a great question. And also, what do these shifts mean for actual healthcare delivery? For access to care, quality of care? Especially comparing different regions like fast-growing APAC versus established markets.
Exactly. Lots to think about there. Well, this has been incredibly insightful. Thanks for walking us through that report.
My pleasure. It's a crucial part of the healthcare puzzle.